So now that we're in winter break and it's about to be New Year's, let's talk a little about our resolutions and our worries for the new year. Yeah. I feel like, especially as juniors, we do have a lot of stress on us.
Yeah. Also, a thing that I've been thinking about is this summer I'm going to be stressed about picking what colleges I want to go to, writing college essay. Like, I don't know how the seniors this year are doing it.
I feel like by this time next year, we're going to be more relaxed. Yeah. Like, having submitted our, like...
Yeah, definitely.
All of our
Once it's
whole
in,
jobs.
I'm going to be like, okay, it's in.
Yeah. And at that point, you can't really change anything.
Yeah. And another thing is, like, I think, like, everyone could also relate to this, but you want to get a job that'll make you money, right?
Yeah.
But I'm not passionate about the jobs that make you a lot of money. And so it's really hard for me to pick a major.
Yeah, I know where you're coming from. It's like, I want to do what I want to do, but at the same time, like, I want to have money when I grow up.
Yeah.
But I feel like right now we're looking at it from a really, like, narrow perspective because there are so many majors and so many jobs and like every little, like, detail. Like, even biology has 6 different thingies that you can do. Mm-hmm. Like microbiology, regular, like...
I don't even get what political science is. Like, what even is that? Like, when people say, like, I was on a college tour, it's like, what's your major? And this freaked me out, because I didn't know we were saying our major. So it's like, where did you come from? Like, where are you from? And what's your major? And I freaked out. I said, I'm from Bellevue, Washington, and an English major. Like, an English major? Like, what even is that?
That is a major, by the way.
I know it's a major, but, like, what do you, like, what? You know what I mean?
You study English.
Yeah, but, like, what? Like, everyone was like, architecture, political science, an engineer. And I was like, English major. Like, you could be more specific, like, education in English, like, something like that.
Okay, we're getting really off topic. If you want to have a talk about what political science is, we can have that later. But...
Okay, the main point of this episode is just, like, kind of New Year's comes with a lot of stress.
Yeah.
Like,
and I feel like, as the year goes by, I kind of think of it as this, like, metaphor of, like, we keep climbing, and then New Year's, we're on the top of the mountain.
Yeah.
And, like, we can see the whole year.
Yeah.
And, like, just seeing that overwhelms you a lot, knowing that, oh, like, this awaits me.
Oh, like, in the future. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I thought, because, like, also, you could see behind you the year that just happened. Yeah.
And, and if you turn back,
it's like...
There's a cliff behind you, too.
There's this weird midpoint where it's just, like, it's either, like, you're supposed to change everything about your life, you're supposed to make your goals, you're supposed to, like, get it together. And it's kind of stressful because it's kind of this rule, it's, like, only right when a new year's starting. But sometimes, randomly in the middle of the year, I'm like, oh, I want to make some changes. It's kind of like when the school year begins. It's like my reset. Because I feel like it's kind of the same for me. But it's just like, it really builds up the anxiety. Especially, I think we are very similar, being anxious. You see, like you said, seeing the mountain, it's like you see this whole picture of, like, I have to do all these things this year. And you're thinking of it as if you have to do all of it tomorrow. Like, that's kind of how I see it. It's like, oh my god, tomorrow I have to apply for college. No, you don't. I have a year. I have a long time to think about that. And I feel like some people who aren't as anxious, which I'm jealous of them, they, like, take each day as it is, each week, and, like, worry about it when it comes to them. But I think for us, like, we really worry about it way ahead.
Yeah.
And not just that.
I feel like that's good in the sense of, like, let's talk about SAT or AP tests. Like, we are not the people to leave it to the last month.
Yeah, definitely.
Because we think we can just grind it through and get everything done. You know what I mean? So in that sense, like, yeah, be aware of what's coming up. But at the same time, like, why would you stress over college apps right now? You know what really helps me?
What?
Like, I just think of it. I'm like, worst case scenario, I'll just go to the Bothell or like Tacoma.
Yeah.
And like, yeah, I wouldn't go to the best school on earth, but I'll still graduate, and if I want to pursue something after, I'll probably be able to apply to another school.
Like grad school, too.
Yeah.
Like, my mom says that a lot of the time in college, like, you don't know exactly what you want to do, and then grad school is when you really get that career thing set.
Yeah. So, it's always like, oh yeah, if nothing works, this is gonna work. And, I don't know, it kind of calms me to think about it that way.
I always know, like, I know I'm gonna figure it out. I know everything's gonna be okay, but, like, thinking about figuring it out is really scary.
Yeah, and I feel like it also comes from, like, a lot of, like, I don't know if this happens to you, but sometimes I get anxious because I know I can do a thing and I can achieve something, but it's just the idea that I have to work so hard for it overwhelms me.
One thing I want to work on this year is that even though I have all of these quote-unquote challenging, like, working hard things going on during the school weeks, to still find little things of joy. Like, still be happy. Like, I can't let that ruin my whole week, just being anxious about it, when I can still have a really good week and have fun while, like, I have fun doing all those things. Like, going to class and talking to my friends and going to sports practices. It's fun, and I need to look forward to it and not think about it like this big scary thing I have to do.
Also, I feel like it's really hard at this point of the year to find motivation. And, like, I was just thinking about how you talked about the beginning of the year. You were, like, kind of like, oh, yeah, I have these planned out. I have, like, motivation to do it. I'm not going to procrastinate. And then, like, at this point, it's like right before winter break, I lost a lot of my motivation to do anything.
Oh, yeah.
I think that happened partially because the winter break was coming up, and I was like, oh my god, another 3 days, like, that feeling. But also, like, oh, that was a lot of work for it to do over, like, 2 months. And, like, I don't know, it was just a lot of things.
Oh my god, like, the last week was crazy. Like, so many tests. I had an essay, like...
It's gonna be really hard to find a lot of motivation by, like, March.
Oh,
especially by March.
I'm gonna be having softball season, too. So, having a sport every day after school and worrying about, like, AP tests and grades, it's gonna be a lot, but I gotta tell myself that I know I can do it.
Yeah.
Like...
I agree.
Going to class now and learning now and taking tests now is preparing us for that. It's not like you have to learn everything a week before. I feel like everyone, no matter what grade you're in, we all have this collective sense of burnout right now because, like you were saying, I feel like I started the year with, like, AP classes junior year, let's go. And then now I'm just like, oh my god, I have
to finish this year.
Or it's like, I have to study for this test again. It's like, it never stops. It feels like right when you finish something, here's a new thing, which, like, obviously that's how it's gonna be, but it's just a lot. It's a lot to work through.
This feels like a therapy session, bro, because, you know? Okay. So I say a lot of bros in real life, so I'm gonna...
Bro. I like it when you say bro. It's funny.
So the thing is, like, when I'm in therapy, or I was in therapy, I would talk about things, but I wouldn't know the answers to, and I just feel like that right now.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, because the therapist is like, okay, so what can we do to help this?
I don't know.
And you're like, blank. Then you start coming up with, like, ideas and stuff.
One thing that I want to do that's, like, I've already been doing, but I want to do more, is get things done in class. I don't know if I talked about this in the last episode.
I think I cut it out.
Yeah, I think you did cut it out. Well, I'm gonna say it again because they should hear it.
Okay.
Do things in class. I used to be like, oh, I'll just do this assignment at home. I'll have time at home. when you get home, you're exhausted because you've been talking to people all day. You've had to sit through 7 hours of classes. So in class, when they give you time to do the work, just lock in and do it, and it'll save you so much time.
You know what? Like, even though you can't finish the work in class, it, like, saves you the burden of, like, getting anxious to start it.
Yeah.
When you get home.
Like, just start it.
Because once you start it, you're like, oh, it's not that hard. Like, I'll be able to go through it. Like, it's fine. So when you get home, you're like, oh, okay, I'll just do it.
Yeah.
But then, if you didn't even start in the first place, you're gonna go home and be like, oh my god, that's a lot of work.
You're gonna be
procrastinate.
more confused. You can also ask the teacher questions in class while you're doing it. Because a lot of the time, sometimes I would be finishing something else, like for AP Physics, for example.
Mm-hmm.
And I was, like, finishing something before, but then I have this other sheet, and then I start it at home, and I'm like, I actually have no idea how to do this. So, if I started it in class, I could ask my teacher, how do you do this? And then, when you know one part of it, you can kind of figure out the rest of a worksheet. Same with essays. Like, the past 2 essays in my AP Lang, on the Wednesday block period...
Yeah, lock in.
I locked in. Like, I went in the hallway because I know if I'm sitting next to people and they're talking, or, like, I see people talking, I'm gonna want to talk to them, or I'm just not gonna focus. Mm-hmm. I went in the hallway. I got, like, 3/4 of my essay done. Like, in that hour and a half. I was just chugging it out.
Chugging it
Stop! You give it... What are you, cranking it out? Something like that.
Yeah.
And then...
Grinding.
Yeah. I was grinding. What's a tip you have? Ezra's tip.
What's a tip I have?
What can we do to solve this?
I feel like adding on to what Ali said, yeah, start things in class, but also, like, this is gonna be, like, so basic, but do not leave things till last minute.
Yeah.
Like, literally, this happens to me all the time and still happens to me. But once you get something done early, you're gonna have more fun after, rather than leaving it till the last minute and getting anxious about it.
Yeah, because...
And feeling guilty about it.
You say, okay, I'll do it later. At least for me, I'm not gonna enjoy whatever I'm doing because I'm anxious that I haven't started it yet.
Mm-hmm.
Like, if you are like, oh, I want to hang out with my friends, or I want to do this with my family, that's why I'm not working on this. And this is, like, I'm saying if it's a choice. Like, if you have to go to a family thing, that's understandable. Or if you have to go to practice. But, like, if you can choose to either study or do something else, but you choose to do something else, at least for me, I would be anxious being like, oh, I said yes to this thing, but I have to finish that thing. And, like, you're not going to have as much fun. If you finish it and then hang out later, you're like, I got my work done, I can relax, I can have fun.
Yeah,
like, it's just going to make
agree.
it better.
So I think one way that also, like, we procrastinate is, like, as teenagers, being on our phones a lot. Mm-hmm. And we're going to talk about this in, especially next episode.
Yeah.
Watch out for that one. It's a social media episode, but basically, like, I don't know, it's just, one tip is be aware of how much time you're spending on your phone.
Especially over winter break and being home. I can just tell when it sucks me in, when I'm like, I have been on TikTok for an hour, but I just can't get off. Yeah. It's like, I feel trapped. Like, it feels scary because it's like, I'm scrolling, and I'm like, okay, I want to get off now. After this video, I'll get off. Like, I need to do something else. Like, I'm telling myself, but I can't stop, and I feel like I'm on this hamster loop, and I can't get out of it.
I don't know if this works out for you, but for some people, it really helps to have, like, a designated time to go to a library and say, yeah, I'm gonna study here for 3 hours. And I feel like that helps a lot because you can't, like, go on FaceTime, play a game in the library. Like, that's the designated time that you should be studying.
Something that helps me also is setting a timer. Because for some reason, a timer just holds me accountable. Like, I set a 30-minute timer. And as it's going, like, I feel like it feels like a race. Like, I have to finish this. Like, or I have to get this much done in this amount of time. Because I realized this in freshman year when I had my first time right. And I was like, whoa, I really just locked in just now because I was like so scared of not finishing in time. So, moral of this whole episode is that yes, we're all in a slump. We're all kind of burning out, but we are going to get it together.
Yeah.
Like, we got to learn, yes, it's going to be challenging, but we also need to have fun. We need to have fun with our friends. We need to find time for self-care, you know?
Yep.
Don't overwork yourselves. Have a balance of work and fun and self-care. That's something I want to do, because sometimes I'm just so focused on school that I just, like, am dying.
Being on your phone is not self-care. I feel like we have to emphasize that, is like, oh yeah, have time for yourself, but just don't be on your phone.
Yeah, it's saying, like, okay, because a lot of the time, like, okay, I'm gonna relax, and what I do to relax is go on my phone. But sometimes I feel like I just need to, like, read a book, or sit there, like, cuddle with my dog, like, do something that's not a screen.
Mm-hmm. I agree.
Okay. That's a wrap.
That's a wrap.
I hope everyone has a great New Year's Eve, or had a great New Year's Eve. A great New Year's, and I hope everyone's doing well going back into school and transitioning into that.
Yeah. We hope everyone has a great final season. And we're going to film another episode about social media, hopefully.
We will be interviewing a teacher.
Maybe.
Maybe.
We haven't asked him, bro.
We haven't asked, but...
He probably would say yes. He likes me.
Okay.
What are we going to say?
Bye, Hawks.
Okay. 3.
Bye,
Bye, Hawks!